The Lane train has left town on a plane. Ole Miss fans showed up to the airport to boo their now former head coach, Lane Kiffin, as he departed for his new $91 million job at LSU. Now, outside of Baton Rouge, Kiffin's not too popular at the moment, and that extends to our nation's capital. Now, this week, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called a bill he didn't like, the Lane Kiffin Protection Act. He was referring to the SCORE Act, which regulates name, image, and likeness for college athletes. A vote on the bill was postponed on Wednesday amid bipartisan backlash. Well, joining me this morning to weigh in is Rick Horrow, CEO of Horrow Sports Ventures. Happy Friday, Rick, and thank you so much for joining me today. I do want to start out with a focus on college football, and there's been so much drama surrounding the LSU job. They got their guy with Lane Kiffin, but he leaves behind playoff-bound Ole Miss and claims Ole Miss fans try to run him off the road. So what do you make of this bad breakup?
Here's what I make of it. I don't know if I saw the opening graphic. Can you put flip off on television? That's interesting. The bottom line is everybody is exorcised about the end of the day and what's going to happen with this. It's free market. Imagine a CEO going from one company to another for a better stock deal, and his employees run to the lobby and quote unquote flip him off as he's leaving. This is not that much different, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a deal where the regulation or something has to happen. Free market takes over. Athletic directors sign a deal. They lure a big name. The big name requires a guarantee. They can be fired at a moment's notice, but the trade-off is you got to pay him off. Now, did he leave the right way? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, 25% of the teams in the SEC are changing coaches. This is tip of the iceberg because now all the players who go with him will follow. This guy Signetti, who was a coach at Indiana, took the Liberty players, many of them, and now Indiana is second in the country heading into the conference championship. So we need to see how this is all going to be regulated. And it did start, you're right, with NIL, and maybe it is federal regulation, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, and Rick, this is the business of sports, and sometimes here on Wall Street, when you say SEC, it has a different meaning. Here at the New York Stock Exchange, we saw SEC Chair Paul Atkins on the floor. But nonetheless, when it comes to a vote on the SCORE Act, which regulates NIL, that was postponed Wednesday. So Lane Kiffin was name-dropped by Congressman Jeffries, who said it favors the NCAA and conference interests over athletes. Even a sports bill is causing political debate. Is it?
Yeah. Yes, it is. And the Southeastern Conference is probably the most powerful conference of all. They'll get more teams in the playoff than anybody else will, that SEC. But it is causing controversy because the NIL process, name, image, and likeness, about $3 billion now, and everybody is luring players based on how much they're being paid. 10 years ago, if you paid an athlete, you either go to jail or your athlete gets the death penalty and your program. Today, if you don't have NIL money, you're become irrelevant. And the SCORE Act was an attempt not to specifically regulate, but to give powers to someone who might. It still might come up. It's now tied up in bipartisan or partisan squabbling as normal, but someone's got to regulate somehow because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But at the end of the day, ESPN and the other networks, the more controversy, the better for ratings.
And speaking of which, so you mentioned squabbling. I'm sure there's sure to be some on Sunday. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee will choose the 12-team playoff field. So preview this weekend's conference championship games as well as the committee's decision for us, Rick.
If I knew the answer to that, I would be in your chair picking stocks or real estate or something else. It is the most confusing situation you could ever have. I'm here in South Florida where the Miami Hurricanes are on the bubble. Very complicated. But 12 teams make it. How can you focus on those 12 teams? 4 highest ranked conference champions. The other teams are the 8. Some get by, some don't. That's, again, complicated for the non-sports fan. But it's decided by 12 or so people who lock themselves in the room and develop criteria which supposedly is consistent over every year. 5 weeks in a row, they go through their rankings. The ones that count are on Sunday afternoon. And again, the more controversy, the better for ratings. Miami here, we're crossing our fingers. There are a lot of other schools that are crossing their respective fingers too until they run out of hands.
Well, Rick, we will have to leave it there, but always great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and happy holidays.
We'll talk after the playoffs start. It's another big time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rick.